to have conversations that won't disrupt the flow up here. So I'm going to call, okay, let's try back to my teacher thing. If you can hear my voice, clap 2 times. If you can hear my voice, clap 3 times. All right, so I'm going to ask you, if you're still talking, to take the conversation on the other side of the exit doors, because I'm sure what you're talking about is valuable, but we also have to stick to our program. And I would not be a good MC or moderator if I allowed you all to run me. So we're going to turn these wheels and get to the last panel, which is a policy workshop panel. But I want to give a little bit more clarity to what this panel is about, right? So if we're going to do a real policy workshop, it's not going to happen in 45 or 50 minutes. This is something that we will do. We will have a day where we do a policy workshop and we have breakout sessions, et cetera, et cetera. But I have these experts in policy who have actually written their own bills, amended bills, and actually lobby for themselves on their own dime to talk about, I have a slide, and I know Lynn came super prepared, and she probably put it together in the nick of time. I did too. I sat here on the other panel and was like, but what I would like to get out is some very main points. These slides, and I want our panelists to, I'm going to go through these slides in like maybe 2 minutes, okay? If we could all turn our attention to the screen, and maybe that will be a guiding for where we go with this conversation. Because if we're not, the one thing, like somebody said, be intentional, and we talked about trauma, but one skill set that helped my career in education, it's never changed. So being in the classroom setting and being a teacher and going into the role of a principal and then leaving that entire profession and going into cannabis inclusion policy, I'm teaching just in a different realm. But the way that we are able to bridge these gaps amongst people, we're talking about the age gaps, we're talking about the people just don't know. The one thing that has, if you ask me what do I do, I'm in the business of building relationships. And I learned that from the most simple place is in the classroom with students. If I did not get those students to trust me, if I did not establish relationships with them, they weren't going to do anything for me. And they come with a whole bunch of trauma. So if we're able to take that same model and apply it to adults or people that are in communities that we're not from, that is the beginning to have an understanding, to build relationships, to let them know that you care, that they can trust you, and you'll get people to do anything you want. So moving forward with that, I'm going to go through these 2 minutes of slides, and we're going to go quite rapidly. So if you could just point your eyes up here, and this is something that we used on social media. Guess who can spark change? You can. And so when you go back to your community as community leaders, this is the message, and I will give everyone these slides, and you can put it on your social media, your website, to give empowerment. Policies begin. And I don't like to read slides to grown people because I feel like that's offensive. But this is just, I need you to like get the point that it begins from an idea, from a citizen, from an organization like FSIC or legislators. You don't have to be a congressman to do this. So again, this means, what does it mean? Every major policy starts with a simple idea from everyday people. And that's the overall message. You don't have to be a politician. I just said that. Your voice matters. We can keep going. What can you do? Let's go. Be a part of the action. You can get with FSIC. Before policy happens, receipts get pulled. That means research. Okay? The policy process involves research and data collection. We need to get the information. You can't come to lobby and get in front of a congressional person or anybody that you want to pull together, and you don't have not just you got facts. No, you need to have quantitative and qualitative data, as well as, well, when you're saying that you have the qualitative, that is where you're providing the narrative. They want to see the numbers, and then how does it connect to a person, an everyday person, right? And that's why you, the people, have the power. Okay. Leaders don't, all that. If you want policies that work, bring the facts. Let's go. And so every law begins as, well, what if that? What if we did that? What if we brought this into the community? You know, and they're drafted, policies are drafted as proposed bills, you know, and before the process for it to become a law it's a lot. And advocacy could take, like Kevin said, it took 50 years to overturn Roe versus Wade. So what we want today, as in a role of reset, is going to take time. Policy work is not tomorrow. It might not happen, and I'm not going to go on my. So this means everything that starts as a draft bill goes through multiple versions before. It got to go through a lot. If you are about an issue, start drafting the solutions. Be solution oriented. And who really gets lawmakers' attention? And you don't have to be like, you think lawyers are the only people. They have these lobby groups and they have all this money. That's not, you don't have to be that. You could, FSIC, we could lobby. We could actually lobby about something together. So that's the influence policy. Advocacy groups push issues forward we're doing the educating. That's what this group is moving into. The louder we got some loud voices up in here. I know I can, and we heard some. And so the stronger the movement. And not every idea makes it to the big leagues, but you put in the work. And committees are the ones that, when we're on the Hill, they review this policy, these drafts, before they vote on it, going through the House and going through the Senate. And committees decide if a bill is solid or if it needs more work. The real action happens behind the closed doors. And so strategy is what we need. 2 votes, 1 big step. And I think that's it. A policy, we just talked about it. It has to go through both. You all know this, but this is what I want you to take back to your people. And policies need approval from both. Checks and balances, that's a real word for people who don't understand civics. Not y'all. And 1 signature equals major change, because the president can veto. So what can you do? So I'm gonna step back now, because I don't based on this was setting the stage, right? This was setting the stage, and we're gonna go with ladies first, and try to keep, because we lent extra time to the previous one. 5 o'clock is when the happy hour starts. And I know people, we have to go through this, but we will have an opportunity to connect. So, Lynn, you can start. Ladies, I was saying ladies first.
All right. So, one of the things that really captured me in the presentation that was done is this. So I was sharing with some folks. I'm not a politician. I don't have a law degree. I just play one on TV, right? And this is how new I am. I went out, like I said, yesterday to 13 senators and representatives on both sides. And I went in, and about halfway through it, let me take that back. While I was doing this, my spiel was, my ask rather, is I want you to author a bill. So then I'm texting Kevin, right? So here's what I'm doing, and da-da-da-da-da, and here's my ask. And he was like, well, that's good, but what you really want to do is have him do a discussion draft, because then that empowers us to go out and talk about it some more. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that there was the step before the step. So this is how green I am. But I also leveraged that ignorance, walking into this room and saying, I'm a small business owner. I belong to an organization of small business owners, and we're coming in here to talk about small business solutions. And I'd like to have you co-author a bill. So now I'm saying I'd like you to do a discussion brief, right? A discussion bill. Why do I say that? Because I'm still learning. I'm not a politician, and that could play in my favor. I say that because, like she said, I came prepared, and I will share how I personally prepared these legislation language and such. So I'm a simple person. I'm a strategic person. I tend to do things in 3 to 5, because if I do more than 5, it's work. So, how did I prepare? And again, the details are in here, but the first step was preparing for the work. She said it, do your research. I use the example of procurement, understand the statutes, understand the regulations, understand the framework, get your statistics and your data. If you don't know how to do that, on our policy workshop session, I'll show you where to find stuff. I don't just work in the construction industry, I work in several different industries. I'll tell you where the data sits and where it lies, right? The second step, building effective policy proposals. Sometimes we get so into storytelling, right? We're not writing the big bill, that's for them. But what we are doing is providing the facts, the reason why you're writing it, your compelling interest that's driving the force of this bill. It doesn't have to date back to the 1950s and 60s and the civil rights movement of 1964. We don't have to go that far because the historical is there. What I love to talk about is what is happening today, right? What is happening today that's causing harm? The facts are the facts. $759 billion in contracting, and we're only getting 3%. Do we need to go further than that? We can go last year and the year before that. Because we know for the last 50 years, 759 was 659, 559, 459, and the number hasn't changed. It's been 0 to 3%. So how much farther back do we need to go other than today? So that's a building effective policy. And you also have to be super specific. What are you trying to achieve, right? Third step, advocacy and coalition. She said it best. What does advocacy and coalition look like? Get your supporters and your stakeholders and such. And then the last but not least, navigate the legislative process, and she dictated that, right? And again, I'm still learning. I'm in stage 4 of what I'm trying to do. So those are my little 4 gadgets, and I'll pass the mic to LaTanya.
Thank you. LaTanya?
Hello, everybody. My name is LaTanya Pegues. I'm CEO of Boaz Enterprises based in Austin, Texas.
Say that again. That was fast. What, the CEO of what?
Boaz Enterprises based
Okay.
in Austin, Texas. A wonderful graduate of Howard University, and I am proud to be a graduate of Howard, including some of the issues we have, but we produce vice presidents of the United States of America who also won the party, Democratic Party, help me with the word, nomination. So yes, we have issues, but we're also doing great things, producing wonderful things that change lives. Amen. But I am so excited to be here, so thank you to Kevin, to Brady, to Kia, to the whole team, FSIC, Dr. Steele, and everybody who honor is due. I give you honor, and I appreciate you. And I thank you for the work that you've done. Sometimes the work that we do is thankless. The fact that we can be in the National Press Club is a very big deal, and I do not take that for granted. So thank you. One of the things that I wanted to yes, thank you.
Brady.
Whoever deserves all that. Thank
Brady.
you so very much. But yes, just wanted to, I'm going to backtrack a little bit before we get to the bill stage, and just wanted to just chat just real quickly about some things that I think are important. One is that when we are talking about an idea and a bill that we have, how about if we talk to other people about that too, to see if something that they agree with as well. So if you look for trends and common trends, there are ways that you can do that now using technology to find out what some of the common trends are if you're looking at data points. But how about actually talking to human beings to find out what their needs are? Because we can go through all these wonderful steps and get that signature and be like, oh my God, this is only good for like a handful of people. So that's also a lot of work that's done that may not be in our best interest, okay? So you want to think about that. It's like, what are some things that kind of cross along lines, not just party lines, but as far as industries, maybe even states as well. In addition to that, there are all kinds of things that may even have international, I'm having a problem with words all of a sudden, but international effects as well. You know, so there are ways that, like Charles Brooks, attorney, earlier was saying, sometimes you have to go overseas in order to get things that you need here right at home, okay? So I understand, yes, you know, there's a lot of trauma in our community. I get that, and please do not get mad at me. Well, I guess if you do, I guess at this point it's okay. You know, but we are in a situation right now. This is the second month of the new administration. Yes, we have trauma. Yes, we have challenges, but we got to get it together quickly, okay? They have done so much in 30 days, making 60 days. So if we want to sit around and deal with our healing, which we need, do not get me wrong. I'm a physicist. I'm a low temperature physicist. And there's a time when there's things that are in flux And when it's in flux, that's when you have time to make a decision that's different and that can change the trajectory of what's happening. But if you're going to sit around and wait for it to go from a liquid to a solid, guess what? When it's in a solid state, it's more difficult to move things around. So I just want to encourage you all. I know a lot is going on. I get that. I'm traumatized too by what happened in November the 5th. But yet and still, I'm not going to just stop. You know, we stand on the shoulders of a lot of wonderful people, like Dr. Steele, he had mentioned some of the names today. But do you think they want to just have us sit still and not do anything until everything's a solid state? No, it's still liquid, it's still steam, it's still in a way that we can still make a difference. And then also, in addition to that, we talked about stakeholders. So you want to talk to people, find out what some of the common trends are. Who all is here not from the DMV? Raise the hands. Exactly. So some of you all from the DMV, you all always together and you always doing great things. I live in Texas. I need some support right now. My governor is mirroring what we see here in Washington. So let's talk about some best practices and ways that we can work together. I love what Kia was talking about, you know, as far as looking at the different things that she's created that we can also share. In addition to that, we can grow and learn from each other in addition as well. So some people would say, you know, if you're not at the seat, I mean, was it, you're not the menu? Oh, God, help me.
You don't have a seat at
The table. But in addition to that, you could be on the menu as well.
Okay.
So we're not going to be eating today. We're going to learn how to do this. And I wish we had time to actually go through some actual workshop types of situations. But it's so important. Yes, I get it. You know, the trauma is there. But I think that I wanted to use my little bit of time just to encourage us to get the urgency of now. Now
Yes.
is the time, like James Baldwin would
Yes,
say.
it is urgency. And I'm going to give the gentleman an opportunity. What she said is absolutely correct. And with our network, because FSIC is in 30 different states around the United States. And so when we start these policy workshops, we could do webinars, we could do Zooms. You know, it doesn't always have to be in person, and it could be with your people, you know. So that's a thing. And also, Lynn is going to, so we're going to go back to the drawing board after this because we have post meetings. And so we're going to have put a directory out. And Lynn has offered to put some sample bills so people can see the format and the process of it. So if you want to, you know, just take the format and then input your own information, she's going to provide that for us. And she doesn't know, I'm going to have her lead one of our, I'm going to bring these people back. So Mr. Anderson, Global Risk Managers, President and CEO. Ooh, I'm looking at the wrong side. Yes. Would you? Okay. Would you be so kind to give some insight into the process and that how, you know, the motivation, the urgency that everyday people can do that and, you know, utilize us? But say what you wanted to say. I ain't going to tell you what to say.
Thank you. First thing I'd like to say is how blessed I am to be here and to have the opportunity to work with FSIC and with Brady and Kevin and to meet all these wonderful people that are doing all the hard work. And as Dr. Steele said, it is about racism. All the advocacy we are doing is in the face of racism. We are trying to disrupt systems. People don't, as Dr. Steele said, people don't want us to have what we want. People don't want us to have what we need. So the best way for us to get what we want and the best way for us to get what we need is for us to advocate for ourselves. And a lot of times, the best way to advocate for ourselves is by building coalitions, finding like-minded people who are suffering the same situation. In my business, I work with the National Association of Minority Contractors because I work to help contractors get work. So it makes sense for me to work with the National Association of Minority Contractors, which is an organization that advocates for minority contractors to get work. I also work with the Hispanic Contractors Association. Hispanic contractors have some of the same battles that the minority being mainly African American contractors have. I also work with Native American contractors. So I built coalitions that I can walk into a state representative's office, a state senator's office, a federal senator or a federal representative's office, and show them that I am representing issues that address their constituents, because they have Black constituents, they have Hispanic constituents, they have Native American constituents, And when you can put documents in front of them that show, that prove that these constituents support your efforts, your advocacy, it leverages those constituents on your behalf. So coalition building is very important in advocacy work. Being informed is very important, and timing is very important. But being informed as to what your audience is looking for, what that representative or senator is sensitive to, understanding, where do they go to school, what is their community like, and being able to speak to points that will touch them in ways that will activate them to move in your behalf. It's very important to do your homework, as Lynn said, to be ready, to be studied up. But this work is very, very hard. As Kevin said, I've been doing this for 30 years. For 30 years, I had a meeting this morning with the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, the chief staff person on the minority side. And I told her for 30 years I've been beating my head against the wall to try to move this agenda forward, to have owner-controlled insurance legislation that makes the federal government use this program to help small and minority contractors work on projects as a whole of government agenda. I'm not just working in transportation. I'm trying to get all of government to use this program to help small and minority contractors. It's an impossible mission, but if somebody doesn't start it, it will never happen. So like you started to allude to, I'm not sure that this will happen in my lifetime, but I'm going to give the rest of my life to trying to make it happen. And I think that's kind of the attitude that you have to have. You have to be willing to, put your life on the line to make what you're trying to do happen. Because it isn't easy, it isn't quick, and it's going to take all of you and as many people as you can muster together to make it happen. So, thank you.
Thank you. It can work. It might take a long time. It might not. I mean, I was a part of lobbying for the 280E tax bill in the cannabis industry, and we went hard, and it happened. So sometimes, it could take 50 years, but sometimes it works. So don't shut yourself out it's going to be so long. No, you don't know. You don't know. But aligning the research that goes into it, understanding who you're talking to, what interests them, what are their other constituents asking for, helps you to frame your communication that much stronger. So now I got it right. I'm going to turn over to Martin Mason, who is VP Sales and Marketing for Rapid Runs Transportation. And I would love to hear your perspective or your education around people can go home and be able to talk about, policy on a ground up level. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, I've never written any policy. In fact, the first policy proposal I read was 2 weeks ago. This lady's right here. So I'm no expert but I think the reason why Kevin has me up here is because he believes I have the ability to get people behind policy, which is an important part of it all. And so how is that done? How do you do that? Well, let me just say this first publicly. I love everything about black people. The good, the bad, the ugly. And the reason is because we're miracles, right?
What?
After slavery, they had no need for us. So we could have went to trash as far as they were concerned, right? And they tried to exterminate us, right? Let's be real about this.
Still are.
So I love everything about us. We are miracles, right? So listen to this. In the state of New Jersey, we're talking about money and what we do or what we don't do. In the state of New Jersey, the average, there's 1.2 million black people. We are 13% of the state. 1.2 million. Our average net worth, $17,000, compared to $322,000 for white folks. There's some pretty poor people in New Jersey. How about this? There are 90,000 black-owned businesses in the state of New Jersey. Only 3% have more than one employee. How about that? So you want me to put some money somewhere or give you some money? Where? Right? Where's it coming from? Now, trust me, and someone said it right, the nails or hair, I would never stop my lady from getting her nails and hair done. I don't care, because I don't have to eat. She's getting taken care of, right? So I'm not saying don't do that. But you cannot eat, right? You gonna get some coffee and donuts in the morning, or a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich, as we say in Jersey. Just drink the coffee, man. Send me the $10 you're about to put onto the sandwich there, right? But how do you get these people? How do you get these people to move? How do you get them to act, right? First of all, you got to make them feel like they're a part of this. Do you have to read it and explain it to them in their own language? Absolutely. I've sent her stuff out to all of these people. You know, other things Keevan has given me sent out to all these people. And when I call, they didn't even know that I sent them an email. And if they saw it, they didn't read it. But Martin, don't hang up. Tell me about it. They want me to tell them about it. Oh, that's good. I love that. I'm down with that. Martin, I'll do anything I can for you. Right? That's what I get back from these people. And I know some of them mean money, and some of them mean truly they'll do anything they can. Right? Give me money. I don't have much of it, but I'll give it to you. I'm sure of this. So I think it's a matter of like, first of all, we have to understand the importance of what's happening. I had to read Lynn's proposal. I had to read the tax proposal. I had to understand it. I had to put it into my own thought process, my own language, and I needed to communicate it back to some folks that I understood, right? And that's what we all have to do. We have to be the conduit. We have from the proposal to the people.
Yes.
Somebody's got to give it to them.
Can we clap for that? From the proposal to the people.
You know, so that's why I'm here. I'm telling you, there's ways to go about it. There's ways to do it. It's, you know, we talked about sending an email to 4,000 people. You know what it took? It took me a half an hour to write it and 1 second to push my finger on a button that said send, and $85 a month for constant contact, right? So it's not hard. It's not hard at all. And one last thing, I'll let you all go. Keevan talked about 3%, right? Only 3% of black folks were in the civil rights movement, right? 3%. 3% of people fought the Civil War, 3%. But think about where we are today versus where we were then. The ability to communicate now is off the charts.
It's everywhere.
So if you communicate, the number may be the same, 3%, but I'm gonna let, how many black folks are there in America? I'm gonna let them all know, and I'm gonna get 3% of that. That's the way we need to think. Mm-hmm. You have to speak to the many. You're only gonna get the few from the many. I got 25 people out of 4,000 to come to a meeting, right? But all that means is I need to keep communicating to those people and try to even communicate to more. So the policy is important. The awesome thing about this is we have this think tank, these great people. Honest to God, I came out here to see Dr. Steele and hear him speak, and man, he gave my money's worth every time. But I love him to death. I kid you not. I'm not joking you when I tell you that,
We
Dr.
all
Steele.
do.
So, but we can do it.
Yeah, we can.
We can do it a little at a time.
Yes,
a
we
little
can.
at a time.
Absolutely. We still on panel time. I'm going on down the line. But one of the things I want to say in reference to what Dr. Steele and Keevan bring, we were talking about all the, having to go into other countries, is how they came up with GPI, Global Policy Initiative, because it might not come from right here in our nation, but we have to go out and find those, to make those relationships and find people in other countries, because they might have some issues that are in alignment. And so how do we work together? Of course you can.
My relationships around the world, that's why I stepped down, because the park is going to do a great job, President Vicios. I'm taking it forward as I can take it. Now I'm international. My wife got sick 3 weeks ago. I was scheduled to go to China, but guess what? I got a son-in-law who been studying me. I sent him to China, and he just got back last night from Paris. Because all of my connection around the world largest in China, manufacturer in the world, we got a contract with them. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a big
All
deal.
that stuff you see, these plumbing stores, and I ain't calling no names, Home Depot, I ain't calling no more. All these folks, the world largest manufacturing company that's gonna work with us gonna create black distributors. That's what I'm talking about. So don't tell me what we can't do. You need to shut your mouth and join the team, and let's go do it.
Listen, that's the urgent call to action. Brady, is that not the call to action that we've been talking about this whole planning time? We have an urgent call to action. You said the word urgent. This message is very clear. We have to come together we've already identified the problems. Now we need to figure out how we're going to make the connection, provide the education, and pull the people together to make impact. So I'm not a panelist. I'm a panelist.
But I wanted to add on to what Cousin Martin had said. And that is, so say, for example, you do send out now we're talking about call to action. Now we're talking about action steps. So say, for example, you do send out 4,000 emails and you only get a 50% response rate, or people who open your email of 2,000. Well, I wouldn't be discouraged by that number, because when you talk about digital marketing and things like that, that is a really big rate of return on what you're doing. So please do not disparage that. Absolutely. And in addition to that, so say, for example, you do send something out, you're like, oh man, only 50%, or even maybe it's 20%, whatever that number is, do not be discouraged. And then when you get to your point where people are actually coming to your event, even if it's a smaller number than what you expected, do not be discouraged, because guess what? Everybody knows somebody who's in a similar situation. So if you're able, if you have a good relationship with them and they can trust you and they believe what you're doing and you're active and you're involved, then if each one brings one, you've already doubled your numbers. So do not be discouraged by what the old folks used to say. Don't despair with small beginnings. It's okay. You have to start somewhere. So be encouraged with that. And then also, once people see that it's value add, then they may not be able to go, because that maybe the work they do, it could be at a different shift. You also have to look at people's, shift work and what they're doing. It could be seasonal. There could be a time where tax time. Do you think any of my CPA friends could make it this weekend as much as they want to be here? No, because it's time to get the work done for what they do. But that doesn't mean that they don't have an interest. So I just want to encourage you all that it is possible, and the numbers may seem small at first, but they can also grow and bloom and blossom by each one bringing one, and then they bring one, and they bring one. So before you know it, you could triple, quadruple, quintuple your numbers.
Taking over as moderator, I'd like to introduce our new panelist.
Thank you. Kia Jackson with FSIC. But one of the, I guess if people say piggyback or one more thing, I had a sponsor who was here. I don't know what happened, but I really wanted him to talk about, he has this data model for advocacy groups specifically, and different methods for collecting data, because people provide inaccurate data because they don't connect to the communities where they need to get that data from. So he has using geo-tracking. Geo-tracking is, the dispensary I was a consultant for used geo-tracking to figure out where the people she was going to bring in to be her, to patronize her business. So geo-tracking, we need to get it. Kevin, can we get geo-tracking? We gonna get the real data. And in our workshops, we have some economists and finance people to help us disaggregate that data and make sense of it and interpret it for how we can, use it for what we're trying to do, because all of that matters. But what I want to say really is, the real talk is, after this, how many of us are going to continue to work with FSIC?
That's right.
Real talk. Because we can sit here and listen to all of this great information and then go home, go back to work, and you're like, yeah, I was at this panel joint, but can we see you again? Will you follow up to our emails? Will you become a member? And I'm not talking about for a member to collect your money, but a member to do the work. That's what we're here for. And one part of me right now, I'm being completely 100. I'm torn. Do I need to move? Because, I'm not civil rights. I don't have it in me to fight. And I'm not going, the bathroom ban on contractors that put the, in civil rights movement, contractors were putting together the white and the black bathrooms. Well, Trump, he opened that back up. He took that ban off of them. I just got something that came through the executive order for eliminating Department of Education, literally just happened. And, we thought oh, it's not, it gets 60 people to go through Senate and all that. But has anybody written any counteractive policy on that, a bill?
No.
You see what I'm saying? And so we have all the data to do that. I mean, what I think really doesn't matter, because I never thought we needed to integrate anyway. I would have stuck with segregation, but they burned all our stuff down. So that's another thing. I'll get back up, because I really just want us, I'm excited about the work, and I don't want us to get discouraged because of everything that's happening right now around us. We're not going to be defeated. Black people exist because we are survivors. That's the one thing about us that makes us unique from any other group of people in the world, is that we have the survival power. So harness that in the depths of disparity.
Go ahead, drop that mic.
Yes, one question from the audience.
Well, I want to share something based on what I'm hearing as well and talking to different politicians and getting information so you can kind of get to know where they are and what they're about. Is I, as an advocate, obviously, for weed and cannabis, I always hit the opensecrets.org. If you hit opensecrets.org, it'll give you the top 20 sponsors, so you see who they're really working for. And then in addition to that, it'll give you their voting records on bills/laws, and it'll give you their bio, so that way you get some information, something to talk about, some common ground, see where they're coming from or where they're going, and whether they work as well. So opensecrets.org and their name.
Okay.
Nationwide, because Normal has it nationwide. They give them a report card, A to F. They used to get in school. I like the opensecrets.org and always tell them, when they tell me I'm done talking, I say, fine, as long as you know that we got law enforcement against prohibition, law enforcement assisted diversion with targeted treatments as criminals or your constituents. We vote you in, we can vote you out.
We could vote you in, we could vote you out. Tell them, Duke. Yep. Duke is a longtime supporter, friend of all the work in the cannabis industry. Anytime I'm doing something, he posted all over his social media, and then he shows up. So thank you, Duke. Thank you. Any closing remarks? Any closing remarks before we head to happy hour?
Yes, stay engaged, stay involved. You know, some people are saying, you know, that they're on a rest leave, that they're taking rest because of what happened. November 5th was November 5th. It is now March 20th. We don't have time to rest. Think about our people who died so that we could have the ability to be in the, I guess I'm a media person, so I know what a big deal it is to be in this meeting, this building, having these kind of conversations. This is huge. So only our ancestors, we're, you know, the response to their wildest dreams, let us not let them down. So many gave so much just so that we could learn to read and write, let alone vote. So let's not let them down.
Any other
Two
closing
things.
remarks? There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
Two things. I have copies of the bill. If you guys want to take a glance of the ones that I've done it at the city level and the federal level and also at the state level. And then the second component is what I said earlier and what Thaddeus said about food security. They are burning the farms where our food is coming from. What is it going to take for you to look up and realize, right, that we got to act now? We got to get to that. And there's so many things that we have to pay attention to today that we are empowered, hopefully, with this convention and this summit to take with us into our communities. There's so many mechanisms that is already in place. They've already set the stage for us to step into and begin to play. Let's play.
Let's use it. Thank you.
I just want to say, I think we should give a round of applause for Kevin putting everything together as
you
always.
Thank you.
Brady Buckner.
Okay.
Brady Buckner.
Oh, and of course, I'm sorry, Brady. I'm looking at him and Brady.
Kia Jackson. Kia
Thank
Jackson.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, you gotta. So this brings us to the closing of today, because we have a whole day tomorrow as well. We really would love if you come back and fill up the room again. I have a little quick video and everything I want to share. I know Kevin and Brady might want to have some closing remarks, but you kicked us into, did you have a closing remark? Because I just went right by you. Say something, please, please.
Something?
That works. That works. That works. Okay, so yes, I want to say thank you to, first, everybody that came, because this shows growth, right? This shows growth. One of my friends, I was like, I'm doing this, and they was like, people don't care. And I was like, yes, they do, and you have shown that we care. And I'm excited about that, you know, because, and I can't wait to go back and tell my friend, they care, they care, they care. So this is growth. This is year 3. Imagine us at year 5, right? Year 5, we'll have breakout rooms. We're going to have a meditation room because we're traumatized. We need to, you know, we'll have diversity in this event as we continue to grow, and we cannot grow without you. Number 2, I want to thank our sponsors. Some of them are not here, but Affirmed RX, Greg was here on a panel earlier. Cone Resnick, Michael was here on the tax panel earlier. We also, of course, Dr. Steele, SCLC, one of our contributing partners / sponsors. We had T-Mobile. Their son got sick and wasn't able to make it. I would have loved to see that magenta tablecloth out here, but next time, maybe they'll make it tomorrow. Navigating Gray was another great sponsor who has the data collection. He was coming with the iPads and everything. I don't know what happened with that, but we're still very happy for that support. We have Dr. Bella, who has a book back here, when you get a chance. And I also have Nikki and Carlton, Financial and Lending, Real Estate, Financial and Lending. Are they there? Oh my goodness, they keep missing it. Are they in the hallway? Because they're the only, the ones that actually came and set up. And I wanted to acknowledge you, Nikki. I wanted to acknowledge you because, you know, this, and I was trying to get her on a panel, and she was like, well, you know, and then Keevan was like, this is a policy event. And I was like, you're right, you're right. But that doesn't mean that you can't be a part of the legs that go out into the community and do the work. So Nikki Williams, do you just want to say something real quick? Real quick. So, you know, as an educator, real quick,
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'd like to be behind the mic platform. Thank you. So thank you for allowing us to come and join us. Carlton stepped into the bathroom. But doing the work of the community is what I do as an educator by trade, 25 years, K-12 about 20, higher ed the last 5. I am here for the people. I'm a servant leader. We are also a realtor and mortgage broker team, so we do residential and commercial lending. And one of the things that we also talked about when one of the other panels was up here about real estate, red line, all of that. Racial restoration. Mm-hmm. All of that. We do seminars, we do education, and the other gentleman that was talking about, you know, being a black business owner, where's your money? And then you've had great, like all of the panels have been phenomenal and totally, in some ways, preaching to the choir, because all of us know this. Right. And we got to get it out to the people. Right. So we do seminars on, like, as so many of us are business owners, we don't know that, okay, or some people don't know, okay, we want to write all these things off on our taxes. Well, what does that look like towards home ownership? If you may or may not own a home, or if you're looking to get more property, because that counts against, you know, how much you're bringing to the table. It's like phantom money. But anyway, so we do a lot of community service. We do a lot of seminars. So if anyone wants to, you know, have us come and do a seminar, we do school seminars. We do financial literacy. We do home ownership seminars. Educator at heart. I love to educate. We love to sell real estate, residential and commercial. Visit us at the table. Enjoy the pens. Visit the website. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nikki. Okay, so now we're really down. The timer is giving me 2 minutes. Brady and Kiva, you can start making your way up. And Mr. Cunningham, while they are coming up, can you play our video? You first show our website so people can see the donate button, because you had it up. I saw it.
Member of Central Texas named Maggie.
You had the actual website up. I saw it. All right, well, just play the video then. You had that up for sure.
Give me one last.
See, okay, that's our website. Go to the
You
top.
gotta stay in touch.
Well, I was trying to, but
okay.
she never responded.
There's, see, support our work. Donate here. So $10 adds up. All right? So you, especially our VIP, free VIP people, hook us up. And then we have this great video that we've been putting on. So while Kevin and Brady are coming up, I'll let you watch the 30 clip video. Is it no sound? Oh. You can see some of it.
We have to get in the mindset of learning to come together and resource our solutions.
You can really start to make a difference and get them to wake up and pay attention to your issue.
We have to be able to recognize the power we have.
We're on the move. We need you to be on the move too.
Okay, thanks everybody. Brady Buckner here. I had some health issues this morning, but my team stood up for me, and I'm very thankful for that. It's a big deal because for 12 years we've been building this, and to have a team in place, and so you're all part of the team now, whether you like it or not. And so I'd like everybody to come to the reception. We have an open bar, and we have hors d'oeuvres, and we also just want to mingle and talk to y'all. So thank you all very much for your time today.